that Hotel Chelsea is a combination of the Plaza Hotel and a Greyhound bus station. It captures the glamour of Hotel Chelsea. It has a history of being a little shady like a Greyhound bus station. Welcome to Hotel Chelsea. When the building was designed in the 1880s, it was designed to be a real sort of co-op, to have people coming and going and cross-pollinating with different types of ideas. When we acquired Hotel Chelsea, it had already been under construction for several years, and it was torn apart, and it was in far worse shape than even 5 years prior to that. We also were very careful to try not to rip out the existing crown moldings, existing marble floors, the existing historic staircase, and it felt like an archaeological dig where we had to gain information and rework everything without destroying it. We're in the lobby here, and there's always a lot of people coming and going. It's one of the things I really like. In this particular room, there's layers of history here, so I don't know if this fireplace was necessarily here in 1884, but it's been here since at least 1920. But the marble floor was existing, the marble wainscoting's existing. All of that is really original. Most of the furniture is new because there really wasn't any furniture left here that was worth salvaging, but the core frame that everything is in is original. And because of the kind of eclectic nature of the guests over the years, it feels like everywhere you look at Chelsea, there's a story, and I've learned more and more of the stories over time, and they're all sort of spectacular. For the last 30, 40 years, different people stayed here, and some of them traded art for rooms, some of them gave art, some of the art was purchased, but there was an enormous collection of art that had been accumulated over the years from people who had stayed here. I always liked the barter system. I just thought it's incredibly cool, so we've tried to maintain it. We recently had a painter, Oliver Clegg, stay here, and we traded paintings for rooms. We're just trying to sort of maintain the spirit of the hotel. We have so many people who help keep the property alive.
My name is William Benton, and I am doorman, historian, and tour guide here at the historic Chelsea Hotel. The first time I came to the Chelsea Hotel, I was 18. It intersected with all of my interests growing up in rural Oklahoma. Film, literature, music, everything. So I came here with a degree of expectations, and it met every one of them. My recollection is half the doors were open and people freely went in and out of each other's rooms and wanted to know who you were and what you were working on. The hallways themselves were so iconic, and the doorway structures that I'd seen in movies. It literally felt like entering another world to come here. Stanley, when he came on as general manager in the 60s, it was the family business, and it became his life's mission and ambition to not only maintain the legacy of this place, but to build upon it.
It has a personality of its own. The creative clientele has a personality that we cater to. It's interesting, and the people are beautiful.
A question I'm often asked is if there's sort of a quintessential Chelsea character, if I had to pick one. Patti Smith, in her book, Just Kids, brings people to me 3-to-1 over everything else. I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan, and to know that behind a certain door was where he would pen songs that inspired me. Obviously, Leonard Cohen and Janis Joplin's infamous Night Together. Leonard Cohen would often tell her about his meeting Janis Joplin on the elevator, and he had asked her if she was looking for anyone in particular, and she said Chris Christopherson. And he said, "Today's your lucky day, I'm Chris Christopherson." He said that she responded, "I thought you would be taller." And then they ended up spending the night together, and which resulted in the song Chelsea Hotel No. 2 that he would go on to write. People like Thomas Wolfe and Arthur Miller, they came here, the statement was they were here to work, and a huge part of that is just talking to other artists, sharing your ideas and inspiring each other. The folk movement, in which hugely inspired by Harry Smith's compilation, to the Beats, who were looking to the writers before them, and then you've got the Warhol universe showing up and to some degree being a driving force around here in their era. On and on. It's almost as if some generations beckon in the next. When the hotel closed, it was as good as gone. You know, there's a bad habit in major cities, and in New York in particular, where they sanitize our history and what made and makes this city great. For it to be back in any incarnation, especially this, was a huge surprise and such a positive one. In particular, the Chelsea Hotel, where there's nothing like it. It's really been a crossroads for the world in terms of its inspiring of people, its gathering of really, in my eyes and estimation, very important people who drive the culture in a lot of ways. So to have this history that made people like myself and plenty others who they are, and to still have it is, I believe, of great importance. The hotel seems to have a funny way of sucking you in. It's the closest I get to a sort of a paranormal experience. Well, we have some very infamous ghosts as far as ghost stories go. A common question when I give people tours is what rooms and what spaces of the hotel are haunted. I always say this floor is haunted because there's a photo of my ex-girlfriend back there. It's such a dumb joke. But it is funny, just in the few years of our reopening, people tell me that, you know, they felt someone walk by them in their room or the door mysteriously closed, and then inevitably I get asked for my experiences, and I'm sad to say that I've been coming here since the previous century, and I haven't seen or felt anything. But I'm here all the time now, it seems like, and I go home and I sleep and dream that I'm here, so I fear that I'm the extent of my own haunting now.
This is one of the most storied hotels in New York City, a hotel that maybe had high-profile, wealthy people, but these were always kind of high-profile, notorious artists, etc., and some scoundrels and some outlaws, a little bit like a Oliver Stone movie. It's hard to distinguish between fact and fiction, at what point the stories were embellished or what have you, but they all feel very true to me. But Bob Dylan most definitely lived in this hotel for a period of time and most definitely wrote music while he was living here. And from what I've been told, Bob Dylan lived actually in this room and he wrote Sarah in this room. I think probably the most frequently requested room is the Nancy and Sid Vicious room, which is, ultimately quite a sad story. It was during the Sex Pistols era, and Nancy was found dead, and allegedly he had murdered her here at the hotel. They definitely took her dead body out of the hotel, and then he died of a drug overdose before he was tried, so it was never proven with certainty precisely what happened. This is one of our smaller rooms. Probably Bob Dylan was on a great budget at that point in his life. On top of the building, there were 7 large north-facing units that have 15-foot ceilings and get incredible northern light, and they're what we call the artist lofts, and they're really kind of special. What happened, because people have lived here for so long and they were permanent residents, maybe someone would be living in one unit and then the neighbor would move out, so then they would just build into the unit next door and just sort of colonize a little space. So it's kind of fun to see how the rooms just vary from room to room to room. But we wanted to really work hard to elevate the hotel and elevate the design and have it feel clean, but we wanted to try to avoid it feeling corporate. And so the design general intention was kind of rich bohemian, that sort of quality. So we have these Chinese Art Deco rugs from the 30s. We have these faded velvet curtains, which we had made, which are sort of supposed to feel like faded blue jeans. Behind them, we have the bullet hole shears, which are supposed to sort of communicate some notion of punk rock. Almost every room has a balcony. And from what I can see online, it feels like almost every famous person who ever checked into this hotel took off all their clothes, stood on the balcony naked, and took a picture of themselves. Hotel Chelsea has always felt other, like it lives in a parallel universe, and that kind of always has, and I hope that it always will. And so in working the design, I really deliberately tried not to look at any visual reference of any really contemporary, or for that matter, even historic buildings. And I just want it to feel like it's just slightly in its own world. El Quixote opened in 1930, and historically it's been the only restaurant in Hotel Chelsea. So there's a lot of stories, whether it's Patti Smith and Just Kids talking about, or photographs of Andy Warhol coming here, but this was sort of the watering hole for the entire hotel. We have various historic pieces here. We use some historic art and some of the historic tchotchkes. We took one of the old menus and sort of obscured it behind the current menu, just again, this sort of layers of history, layers upon layers. The partition is original, the mural is original, and interestingly, there was a linoleum floor in here which I peeled up and found this original marble mosaic. So the marble mosaic is new to this iteration of El Quixote, but it was the original floor. I also tore down the old ceiling and discovered this beautiful ceiling underneath, which I left intact. It's all sort of crumbling, and I really like that quality. The bar is original, and the bar has cigarette burns on it, probably from Dylan Thomas, etc. And I like that kind of feeling of, one, the history, but also the time when people actually smoked cigarettes at a bar and let them burn the bar top. These particular lighting fixtures, we bought vintage. These are actually Mexican by this craftsman named Fetters. I just really like them, and I like the feeling of them, so I collected some for this restaurant. To me, it feels pretty close to how it felt the first time when I came here in the 90s. And it just feels like a timeless space. It feels like stepping back into some past that maybe you imagined existed but had never been part of. This is the original restaurant that had always been in the hotel, but we wanted to have a restaurant that you could have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and wasn't just Spanish food. So we opened up Cafe Chelsea in what was formerly a bait and tackle shop. The idea of that is just a classic French brasserie that serves around the clock. Being from 1884, there were two places for people to go here originally. There was the men's dining room and the ladies' tea room. And the men's dining room was, sort of torn out at some point, but the ladies' tea room has always been there, and it's got this hand-painted fresco on the ceiling. And so we just restored that room and kept it as the ladies' tea room. The lobby bar is in a zone behind the front desk that has these beautiful high ceilings and a backyard and a garden, and it had been used as storage for the last several decades. So we slowly pulled out all the boxes and dusted it off. We had this incredible space, and so we built it to be just a grand lobby bar. The one thing about this hotel, it was built by a French architect. It has these incredible volumes, and as much as it was run down, it always had these great bones of something quite regal. And so the idea with the lobby bar was to try to honor that formality and that elegance. The crown molding was covered, and there was a frieze below that. And when we uncovered everything, some of it remained and some of it was missing. We recast it and replaced it, restored it all back to the original. One of the things that I really like about our lobby bar is it caters to both hotel guests and locals, and I've always really liked the mixing of all this sort of stuff. Speaking of mixing, it's got incredibly well-mixed drinks, all curated by our Director of Bars, Brian Evans.
This is the 100th universe. Cheers. Hi, I'm Brian Evans, and I'm the Director of Bars for Hotel Chelsea. Here we have the lobby bar that is sort of past meets present, inspired by a lot of the hotel guests throughout history. The cocktails all lean really classic, but with kind of a modernist edge to them. These spaces and the cocktail menus and even the food menus hopefully encapsulate a bit of that history. At the lobby bar, we name all of our cocktails on the menu in reference to former guests or long-term residents. We have a cocktail called the Two Dylans, which actually is a fun whiskey sour with raspberry and curry leaf. The name is in reference to Bob Dylan, who lived here, as well as Dylan Thomas, writer who lived here for a while. I've always been fascinated with Edie Sedgwick and how she pretty much lit her room on fire. She, I guess, fell asleep with a cigarette in her hand and the room caught fire. Probably my favorite story of the history of this hotel. Most recently, we opened Teruko, named after Teruko Yokoi, an artist who actually lived at the Hotel Chelsea. It's a basement Japanese restaurant that actually holds the largest Japanese whiskey selection in all of North America.
We're here on the roof, which is now the terrace to the spa and the gym. The Chelsea roof was a garden. It was used by a lot of the residents of the hotel. Behind me is the gym, which has had a lot of lives. It was an infirmary for a period of time. It was occupied by the musician Jobriath. There's a documentary the BBC made in 1981. It shows great footage of Jobriath performing in his apartment, which was just up here on the roof, which is fantastic. And Warhol walking the halls and shooting the hotel. And there's a pyramid at the very top of the pyramid that came from Shirley Clark in the 60s. Hotel Chelsea is a designated landmark. The space is so special special and we wanted it to be open to the public, and it just seemed like the most natural thing to do is to put the gym inside of it so that people could see it and experience it. We didn't want it to be sort of lost to a private room. With this thing of sort of trying to update the hotel but not make it too modern, a lot of people would have put a roof bar up here, but we wanted just to feel like a very comfortable place. It's been a residential and commercial building forever, and just a spa seemed more appropriate. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you soon.